Hola, my name is Maria Fernanda, and I'm the host of IO Scholarship Superheroes podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Joshua Gutierrez, who is an opportunity creator for emerging diverse talents at Netflix. He has been getting many Latinx students involved with tech and helping bridge the gap through his different positions at Google, the Hispanic Serving Institution, and now leading the Pathway program at Netflix. Thank you for your time, Joshua, and we are very excited to have you in our show because I know that you are an innovator, a leader, and you open opportunities for many diverse students for many years to come. So thank you again for being part of our show.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Maria. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your journey. I know that you come from Barstow. You graduated at actually Cal State University, San Bernardino, and then you started working for many tech companies such as Google and Netflix, opening opportunities for diverse students. And I love your mantra of helping others. So tell me about your journey.
Yeah, thank you so much. And honestly, I'm just so grateful to be here with you. Thank you for continuing to spread this message and to bring more and more students opportunities and to show them scholarships. It's really, really needed for our community. And I sent so many people to IO scholarships. So we're really grateful. But my journey is, it's been all over the place. And I'm just so grateful to be where I'm at. And so much of that comes from, where I'm from, the experiences I've had and how I was raised, who was, they always say it takes a village to raise a child. And there were so many people who helped really influence my life. And I think when I was growing up, I've always told people I was born, raised, and miseducated in Southern California here in Barstow. And now I'm in Los Angeles. But during my childhood, I think a big factor of that other people first mantra really came from my father. My father always told me a great leader serves others. And so for me, it was always my whole life was built around how do I serve? How do I try and serve? But really, when I was in high school, I think my journey started then because what I started to see by the time I was a freshman in high school was that friends of mine who truly to this day, I think I always tell them are so much smarter, so much more innovative and creative than I ever was or could be, already saw themselves not even wanting to go to college. Not even seeing themselves in college. And that's where it really started. So I remember my best friend when we were in ninth grade, he told me, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go work at the railroad, which is an amazing job, amazing career. But I'm like, you're one of the smartest people I know. Why wouldn't you go to college? For me, it was always, you're gonna go to college, you're gonna go to college, you're gonna go to college. And I think that was the first moment I saw that so many immediately start to split on this pathway, even before, we were 13 years old and he already knew he wasn't going to go to college. And why is that? Like, what is the purpose of that? Why at such a young age did he already feel like he wasn't going to be able to have those educational opportunities? And so that's always driven me in my life. And I think is throughout my career, when I went to college, I was very, very lucky to get a scholarship to go to Cal State University, San Bernardino. And even when I got to college, I started to see that happen again. Folks who said, oh, I'm not going to be able to finish college because I have to go work. So another barrier, they need to work full time so they can't go to school. It was just barriers after barriers that are stopping people from getting the education or finding the career or the opportunities that they wanted. And so that really influenced a lot of my background and what I wanted to do. And so when I was a senior in senior in college, that's when I decided I wanted to go in education. And I think it was from a lot of these personal experiences. It was from learning about so many of the injustices in the world and realizing so much of it comes from education. And so, I became a teacher and really teaching influenced the rest of my life. The students I taught in New Mexico on the Navajo Reservation, the people that I met, the community that I built, influenced so much of how I saw learning, development, creation, creativity, opportunity, all these things that really shaped what I wanted to do. And so I taught for a few years in New Mexico. And then after that, decided, hey, I want to move back home. I want to go back to California. And I wanted to continue teaching, but there weren't opportunities for me to teach. I had to go back to school. So ultimately, I took this really random opportunity. And again, going back to what we've talked about before, a thing that I've learned through my career is saying yes saying yes is really important, especially at times when you're a little unsure, taking a risk, taking a challenge. So I moved to Boston, and that was where I started my recruitment career. And during that time, again, was recruiting for a nonprofit, education nonprofit, really drove my focus in social justice and really wanting to continue to provide as much opportunity for folks as possible. And luckily, my experiences over time have always been shaped by that. And, I think back to from that moment on, after, when I was recruiting for Teach for America, I got an opportunity to recruit at Google, started recruiting at Google. Ultimately, that led me to being able to start a team where we started recruiting at Hispanic serving institutions, and we can talk more about that later. And then eventually leading to Netflix now, where I get this opportunity to build technical development programs for underrepresented folks. And really, all of that was shaped by a drive towards wanting to fix this issue of why was my friend not feeling like he could go to college when he was 13 years old. And so it's always driven me as to making sure that I can find folks out there who have had experiences like me, people who have not had as much opportunity, and say, like, what do we need to do to prepare them so that they can have these chances? Because great talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not.
That's correct. That's why we need more advocates like you in positions in powerful companies to really understand that we have to actually foster that, and we have to build a diverse STEM pipeline. And what are the major skill sets in terms of personal and professional that you are looking for in a potential student or graduate, if you want to hire them at Netflix?
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of speak about Netflix, I think, as part of the whole FANG industry. When we think of all of these tech companies and what they're really looking for, I think a big part of what these companies are looking for are people who are collaborative, who are communicative, and who are big problem solvers. And those things really, they really go hand in hand at all of these companies. And the reason why the folks are looking for these type of people is because in reality, we have huge problems to solve in the tech industry. And when we get folks who are able to collaborate and work really well with other people, really magical things can happen, but you have to have that problem solving mentality. What is the actual problem that I'm trying to solve? So many students that I meet that want to work at a company like a Netflix or a Google or a Meta or whatever these companies might be, they focus so much on, okay, I need to build this technical foundation. I need to build these. And that's all true. You need to have that technical foundation, but they spend so much time on, let me practice this interview problem over and over and over again. All really important things, but getting a chance and time to spend, practicing what this looks like, getting that practice of it, working in doing mock interviews with classmates or mock interviews with professors or folks who actually get a chance to, work through a problem with you. Because in these interviews, what I see are students who come into these interview settings and they think, I need to solve this problem right away, which is true, but you need to work with your interviewer as if they're collaborating with you and you're working together. So that collaboration piece is really huge. And then Netflix specifically, what I always tell folks, it's the one place I've ever worked where the company culture is fully defined and externally shared. So just check out our culture memo. You can search that. I think it's at netflix.com/culture. And it defines exactly what we look for from a candidate and a person to work here. So hopefully that gives some insight.
Yes, that's very powerful what you just said. And I heard, I follow you through LinkedIn and you have very powerful quotes and inspiration for professionals in our industry. And one thing that you emphasize is the power of perseverance and grit and problem solving skill sets. And also in the tech industry, I always tell students also work really hard on your soft skills, because it's very important, that actually students don't only have the skill set with great, grades and GPA when they win a scholarship, but they have to be able to convey to the scholarship committee that they overcame challenges and how they resolve problems. And I have a lot of students that won IO scholarships, and actually they didn't have a 3.0 GPA. They have maybe a 2.5, but what stand out was the way that they resolve problems, their and the perseverance and the grit that Latinos and other diverse underrepresented students we have to go through. And I remember that you mentioned that for you thought that it was impossible to go to a 4-year university, that you always thought that that your only pathway was community college. So I'm so glad that you come from a background that you can understand other underrepresented students, what they feel, and that they have to be confident in their skill sets. And thank you for opening opportunities. And most importantly, thank you for being so authentic, because you are one of those few executives that come across like you really, really care. So
thank you.
I really appreciate that. And I think it comes from your background also of being very resilient, of, working through challenges. And, I love your Netflix Pathway Bootcamp, where you train students, to be maybe hired by Netflix or other tech companies. So tell me, which are the career benefits of being part of Netflix Pathway Bootcamp? And can apply also.
Yeah, no, great question. So I think this goes back to the last question too, and I'll try not to make this too long-winded, but I want to tell a quick story. There's a student I've met, and he was at University of Texas, El Paso, and this was in about 4 years ago. I'm not going to say his last name, but his name was Christian. He's an amazing, amazing student who I worked with for many years. And he was to this day, him and I are very close. He works at a great tech company, has an amazing job. I met him when he was a sophomore in college, and he was almost in tears because he said, I have a 2.2. There's no way I can work at a tech company. There's no way I can get an internship. And he really felt like he would not have an opportunity. But I think what you just highlighted about that resilience and grit was really valuable. But also, I think what made his skill set really strong was that not only was he resilient in the fact that he eventually did see his GPA rise and he worked really hard to make it rise, but he was resilient with me. He pushed me. And I think a lot of times these tech companies, we come to these spaces and we come to students and we say, you need to have this, you need to have this, you need to have this. And what I really liked what he would do is he would say, what is Netflix doing? Or at the time I was at Google. I said, what is Google doing? How are you preparing for folks like us? And so I want to say it's a two-way process here. And so many of these tech companies are responsible, and they have the necessity to make sure that they are building inclusive programs and building inclusive interview processes, so that when somebody like Christian, who is now working at a major tech company, is not lost in that whole framework. And because I was able to work with him and we built a relationship, I learned so much from him, and I was actually able to build so many of the our programs and processes at Google built off of a lot of the things that he taught me. So I'll say that part. The second part with Netflix, with the boot camp, it's just one of many technical development opportunities I think that are out there. And I think what I love about your program and what you all offer with IO scholarships is you're just saying, hey, look, here's all of the different avenues for opportunity. And that's what I want to say that this Pathways Bootcamp is. It's just one way that we want to just try to get folks, especially people who are from underserved communities, a chance to build their technical career. What we look for right now is we're looking for rising seniors, so people who are going to be graduating. The boot camp's closed for this past cycle, but when we reopen it again next year, it'll be for folks who are getting ready to graduate, but it'll also be built for folks who are going to be eligible for our new grad roles here at Netflix. So the intention of the program is to actually prepare people who may not have had internships, research opportunities, things like that, a space to build their technical skills, but also learn what it looks like in the product engineering environment in a tech company, so that they're prepared. So when they get here, they know exactly what they need to do, what kind of relationship they need to have with their colleagues, how to interview, all of that. So that's a little bit highlight of it. It's a 12-week advanced Java course. So much to learn there, but really it's, check us out, netflix.com / oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. I want to say it is edX, or I'm blanking on it right now, but yeah, definitely check it out. You just look for the Netflix Pathways Bootcamp.
Yes, and the other thing, we will be promoting it through our IO scholarship platform, because that is a great internship opportunity to get the skill set in a tech company, and it will be very valuable for our IO scholars. So lastly, what's the best career advice you have ever received?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel like sometimes it changes for me, but to me, the biggest piece that resonates most with me was a mistake that I made. There's two mistakes actually. One mistake was when I was in college. I had a really great mentor, somebody who took the first mentor I ever had. He took a lot of time to invest in me. And one thing that he did was he invited me over for dinner. It's a story I've told before, but I really think it's important. And I was just a dumb college kid who was like, went partying the night before or something. And I slept through this dinner and I thought, oh, no big deal. And I remember him telling me, my wife, my family, we were really excited to welcome you to our home. We made dinner for you and you just didn't show up. And I think that's really disrespectful. And he gave me that feedback. And I remember I never wanted to feel that way again. And to me, it taught me that, you have to be a person of your word. And when you say you're going to do something, you have to be consistent with it. Reliability is really, really important in career. Being a person who is reliable, someone can look to and knows, hey, if they say they're going to do this, they're going to do it. And that's kind of, I think, always stuck with me. And that second piece happened to me when I was working at Google. I had a great mentor there as well. And she said, what do you want to be known for? Because right now you're known as the person that everyone likes and talks to, but what do you want to be known for as a skill set? And that was where, again, it came to my head. I want to be reliable. I want to be known to be a person who people can trust and know that they can rely on and work with. And that's always stuck with me, because if you're a reliable person, folks will always want to turn to you because they know you'll be there for them. So that's something that's always stuck with me.
Well, and I have to say that I admire your superpower, because we have actually the same mission of opening doors for underserved students and opportunities. And, the biggest wealth that you can create for another human being is open opportunities and create opportunities for somebody else. So I really, really appreciate that you have such a passion to really help not only Latino, Black, and other diverse students succeed in the STEM field. And I want to thank you for your time and being part of our show, as we're excited for all the leadership and expertise you will bring to emerging diverse leaders. And your legacy will fall for years to come. So I really appreciate your time. And again, you are a very authentic leader that really cares about your community. And I love, again, your mantra of serving others first. And that's what makes you you and so special. And again, thank you so much for being part of our show. And for our viewers, feel free to subscribe, share, and like. And remember the power of the 3 I's for innovation, inspiration, and invention. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua.